in the quiet, leafy suburbs of Michigan. The war was felt in the things that weren't there. It was felt in the empty seat at the dinner table, the unpainted porch, and the silent playgrounds. But for Mary, a postal carrier who had taken over her husband's route after he deployed to North Africa, the war was felt in the weight of her leather bag. It was 1943. The V-mail was the lifeblood of the nation, Tiny. Microfilmed letters that crossed oceans to keep the home front connected to the foxholes. Mary knew every house on her route. She knew who was waiting for a wedding ring, who was waiting for a birth announcement, and who was simply waiting for the sound of her footsteps on the gravel. But there was one house, a small blue cottage with a white picket fence, that she dreaded the most. Old Mr. Henderson lived there. He was a veteran of the Spanish-American War, a man who stood on his porch every morning at 9 a.m., sharp as a bayonet. He was waiting for word from his grandson, Charlie, a paratrooper. "Morning, Mary," he'd say, tipping his hat. "Anything from the boy?" For months, the answer was a stack of letters. Then, for 3 weeks, there was nothing. On a Tuesday in October, Mary reached into her bag and felt a different kind of envelope. It wasn't the thin, crinkly V-mail. It was heavy, cream-colored, and bore the windowed return address of the War Department. Mary stopped at the edge of the blue cottage's lawn. Her hands shook. She knew what that envelope meant. It was the Western Union of grief, a piece of paper that could turn a house into a tomb in the time it took to tear the seal. She looked at Mr. Henderson, who was leaning on his cane, his eyes fixed on her bag. He saw the color of the envelope. He saw the way Mary's head bowed. The old man didn't move. He didn't cry. He simply took a deep breath of the autumn air, as if he were memorizing the scent of the world before it changed forever. Mary walked up the steps. She didn't say, "I'm sorry." The words felt too small for the weight of the paper. She simply handed it to him, her fingers brushing his calloused hand. "Thank you, Mary," he whispered. "You're a good girl." As she walked away, Mary heard the screen door creak shut. She continued her route, delivering light bills, Sears catalogs, and more V-mails. She realized that she wasn't just a mail carrier. She was the weaver of a giant, invisible web. She was the one who carried the joy and the agony of a world at war in a leather pouch over her shoulder. That evening, as the sun set over the Michigan pines, Mary went home and sat at her own kitchen table. She took out a pen and a small slip of paper. She didn't write about the news or the rations or the weather. She wrote, "I saw a blue jay today, and the maples are turning red. Come home soon so we can walk through the leaves together." She realized that the war was won not just by the bullets fired, but by the letters written. It was won by the people who refused to let the silence win. And as she licked the envelope, she knew that somewhere across the sea, her husband would be waiting for the sound of a postman's footsteps, just like Mr. Henderson.